The tour operator that now owns a company linked to an horrific slaughter of 100 sled dogs near Whistler says it did not order the animals destroyed. The killings happened last year but have just come to light. About 100 healthy dogs were killed and dumped into a mass grave after a drop in business after the 2010 Winter Games. The gruesome event is detailed in documents awarding compensation to a worker who claimed post-traumatic stress disorder after having to shoot the dogs.
My name is Dominic, and this is Sea to Sky Country. I'm on a mission to find out what's up with dog sledding. This is my best buddy, Delilah, and this highway will take us from Vancouver to Whistler and just past there to the small town of Pemberton, famous for its sea potato and Bob Fawcett, the guy who killed those sled dogs. Fawcett's friends in Pemberton are protective of him and his family and refuse to speak to me. In Whistler, everyone's lips are shut and would rather the whole incident go away. This international blight on its record is no good for anyone's business. When I was about to give up, I met Jaime.
Palmer, so I guess I would say it was a displeasure to work with Bob. Probably some of the hardest years of my life. I loved the sport, and I felt, I kind of got stuck in it there. Till I realized that I could, I took the plunge and I wanted to do it differently.
We're opposed to both sled dog tours and sled dog racing. We think that in both cases the animals are subjected to undue risk. Whenever an animal is used to make money for business purposes, they end up being treated as commodities, and that's what we think has happened in the sled dog industry.
Your mind couldn't help wander and think of what these dogs went through and their suffering. I also think too, being on the site and watching as the animals were uncovered was very, very difficult, but I think something that needed to be done to to speak for these dogs, I guess.
What he did is, there's no excuse for it, obviously. And the reason why his numbers got so out of control is one, greed, and two, lack of management. I do feel the pain that people felt for those dogs, and they might be nervous that I'm doing the same thing. Well, look into it. My doors have always been open.
I did hundreds of interviews. It was like BBC London was calling. I think it really touched a chord in people. This is a sport. These animals were used for profit, and I think people have an expectation that they're going to receive a humane end, and that obviously didn't happen in this case. Our government needs to step up to the plate. They've been talking. They've put a lot of a show on, stating we now have the biggest animal cruelty laws in Canada, are the strongest, and it's crap, is what it is.
And at the end of this whole process and all the government regulations and changes, we can't see that anything has changed. Unfortunately, in Canada, it's still legal to shoot a dog, and in the sled dog industry, they can still be shot if they're surplus to requirements. Our position is that sled dogs should only be euthanized if the dogs are seriously ill or injured, as would be the case with any other dog.
I've lost about four dogs to old age. That's what happens with my old guys. If it's at a point where they need to be euthanized, then I do that at the vet. Now I have a business in town that's running non-for-profit, and that can make things difficult for me, because obviously I need to make some money. I need to feed these guys, and I can't charge nothing. I have to charge. But all of this has been pretty detrimental to my business, obviously, and I have faith that we'll come through and we'll keep plugging away. because I believe in what we do here.
Even if that business is very well intentioned, if it gets into trouble, if it goes into bankruptcy, the animals simply become a financial liability, and that's when their welfare is put at risk. And that's certainly the case in the sled dog industry, and obviously that seems to be what has happened in the case of the Whistler Massacre.
Why do you think people won't talk to me? Whether it's people in Hamilton or people in Whistler?
People are afraid of being connected. They're afraid of you know, other people in power that have a lot of influence in town that can affect them directly.
Do you have an opinion what would be a good result in this case coming up?
I guess I can't do anything but just send a love. You know, that's hopefully, you know, if more people just sent love, then the world would be a better place. But that's all I can really say. Pointers! Hip!
Our standards need to change, and these dogs deserve to be respected more than their financial worth. Bob Fawcett was an anomaly and not the norm. He might be found guilty, but if the life of these animals is not considered more than a commodity, history may repeat itself.